Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. We're holding a Mishnah Berurah Chelik Gimel, and Mir Hashem today we will be learning Daf Samach Vav Amud Aleph. We are continuing to learn Hilchos Shabbos. We pick up today 2 lines off the bottom in the Shulchan Aruch on Daf Samach Hey Amud Beis. In the words of the Ramah, a little bit past the halfway point of the line, V'yesh Oimrim Siman Reish Peches, in the middle of Sif Daled. Our learning today should be a Reschus Refuah Shalema for Yitzchak Baruch ben Rachel Shalva, from Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradl, Tzvi ben Leah Miriam, Daniel ben Naomi. Our learning should be a schus for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Hanusunim Bar Tzara Bar Shivya, Ha'imnim Bein Bayam Bein Bayabasha, Hamakim Yerachem Aleihem, V'Yetziam Yitzar L'Rvacha Me'afelu La'Oira Mishibed L'Geula, Hashta B'Gala U'Zman Kariv and Emar Amein. Our learning should also be a schus for Yonasan ben Michal, Yoel ben Michal. The Rebbe Hashem should watch over them together with all of our brothers and sisters who find themselves in harm's way. B'chol Makom Shehem. So, we have been discussing over here in Siman Reish Peches so far the question of fasting a Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos. Somebody had a bad dream, and it's brought down in Divrei Chazal that when somebody has a bad dream, and we're going to see a little bit later today, what exactly does that mean, a bad dream? But when somebody has a bad dream, something bad, chas v'chalila, happens to him in a dream, he should fast a tainus chaloim in order to ameliorate or nullify that dream. In other words, it's possible that that dream was a shlichus min hashamayim. They sent him a message min hashamayim that there's a gzar din against him, and he should do tshuva and he should fast in order to nullify that gzar din. Now we're going to see that it's far more complex than that. It's not, people shouldn't think that every time they have a bad dream, it means that chas v'chalila there's a gzera against them min hashamayim. It's only specific dreams. It's only under specific circumstances, etc., etc. But at least conceptually, from 30,000 feet, this is the shaila that we're discussing. Somebody had a bad dream on Friday night. You're supposed to fast the Tainus Chaloim the day after you had the dream. So you had the dream Friday night. Now somebody's faced with a situation where he would be required to fast a Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos. Like this, you're not allowed to fast on Shabbos. But now he has a need. So he's going to fast the Tainus Chaloim, and then he's going to have to fast a second Tainus on Sunday in order to get kapara for the fact that he fasted on Shabbos, because you're not allowed to fast on Shabbos. Now the Ramah brings up an interesting case, 2 lines off the bottom, Samach Hey Amud Beis, a little bit past the midway point of the line, says the Ramah, V'yesh Oimrim, Mi sheyashan shinas tzaharayim. Let's say somebody takes a good Shabbos afternoon nap. So Shabbos afternoon, he lays down and he takes a nap. V'chalam lo'chaloim ra. In middle of his gishmaka Shabbos afternoon nap, it turns out it wasn't so gishmak. He has a bad dream. So now, what does he do? Should he fast a tainus chaloim when he wakes up Shabbos afternoon, 2:30 in the afternoon? Should he now begin a tainus chaloim? Says the Ramah, Yis'ane mechatzi hayoim ad chatzi halayla. What he should do is, that this is lav dafka, the words of the Ramah are, he should fast from midday on Shabbos until midnight Motzei Shabbos. Now it's lav dafka. What it means is, he should begin a tainus chaloim immediately when he wakes up, and he should continue fasting into the night on Motzei Shabbos, so that he should make it a 12-hour fast. So if he wakes up from a bad dream 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Shabbos afternoon, he should start his Tainus Chaloim, and he should fast until 3 a.m. Motzei Shabbos, so that he has a 12-hour Tainus Chaloim, va'az yavdil. And then at 3 o'clock in the morning, he'll have to make Havdalah. He wasn't able to make Havdalah right after Shabbos because he's in the middle of a Tainus. So he'll make Havdalah at 3 o'clock in the morning. Uvayom Rishon, and then starting daybreak on Sunday, Uvayom Rishon Yisane, he's going to have to fast the second tainus to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos. Ki'ilu Hisane Kol Yom HaShabbos. In other words, you'll make an argument. You'll say, does he really need a second tainus to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos? He only fasted a little bit on Shabbos. Let's say this past Shabbos, Shkia I think was around 4:30. So The Zman, Shabbos was over by 5:30. Shabbos was over, so this fellow fasted from 3 o'clock until 5:30. So he fasted 2.5 hours on Shabbos. Does he still have to fast a whole fast on Sunday to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos? Says the Rama, yes, he does. Says the Mishnah Berurah, is cutting Yud Beis, a few lines off the bottom here on Samachem Yud Beis. Mechatzi hayoyim. The Rama points out over here, if somebody is starting the Tainus Chaloim late Shabbos afternoon, he's not going to say Anenu. You don't say Anenu for such a short fast. Okay, let's cut Yud Gimel. Ad Chatzi Halayla. This fellow is going to fast for the remainder of Shabbos. Then he's also going to fast on Motzei Shabbos, in order to make the Tainus Chaloim a 12-hour fast. Says the Mishnah Berurah, v'yesh makilin. However, there are those, and he brings this down from the Malbusha Yom Tov and the El Yerabba, v'yesh makilin, there are those that are mekel, shelo yisana rak ad halayla. There are those that are mekel, and they say no. In such a scenario, you don't have to extend your fast into Motzei Shabbos. Just fast for the remainder of Shabbos. So you woke up 3 o'clock from your afternoon, Shabbos is over at 5:30, you'll have a 2.5 hour fast. That's going to be your entire Tainus Chaloim. What's the rationale of these Mekilim? The rationale is because a Tainus Chaloim is supposed to be the day after the Chaloim. So you're making a Tainus Chaloim now on Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos is already Sunday. So it's not the day after the Chaloim anyway. So just fast for the remainder of Shabbos. That's the remainder of the day after you had the Chaloim. And that's it. That'll be the whole Tainus Chaloim. Says the Mishnah Berurah, v'yesh lismay chazeh, you can certainly rely on these opinions. Kishahaya Yom Tov b'Motzei Shabbos. If Sunday is Yom Tov, so now to fast on Sunday, to continue your Tainus Chaloim into Motzei Shabbos, would mean fasting on Yom Tov. So we're not going to tell you to fast on Yom Tov. Instead, rely on the Makilim that hold that you yoytze your Tainus Chaloim by fasting the remainder of Shabbos, and don't fast on Motzei Shabbos at all. And he brings this down from the El Yerabba. Continues the Mishnah Berurah. V'im cholam loy b'tchilas halayla v'ninar. Let's say somebody went to sleep Friday night after the Suda. He slept for an hour, and then he woke up from a bad dream. So now it's in the middle of the night, Friday night, and he just woke up from a bad dream. Like this, the Tainus Chaloim is usually during the day. You fast the Tainus Chaloim during the day after you had a bad dream that night. But now you woke up from a bad dream in the middle of the night. So could you go downstairs to the kitchen and have a snack and start your Tainus Chaloim Shabbos morning? Or should you start fasting right away? Says the Mishnah Berurah, Hashla hichmir, the Shla was machmir and said, Shaloi litam klal, Shaloi litam gam balayla, that you should start the Tainus Chaloim immediately in the middle of the night, and you shouldn't even eat or drink anything for the remainder of the night. Ve'heviya yamagan avram b'simen tavkov samach dalid, ve'el Yerabba tzidid lahatir. On the other hand, the El Yerabba is mekel. Sha'atainus eina maschel rakish yoyer hayoim. The El Yerabba says no. Tainus Chaloim starts the next morning. It doesn't start in the middle of the night. Ois cotton Yud Daled. The Ramah told us that even if you fast for only a little bit on Shabbos, you still have to make the second Tainus on Sunday to get kapara for the fact that you fasted on Shabbos. Ois cotton Yud Daled. Va'afilu mecholam loy achar shekvar kiem suda shlishis achar chatzi hayoim. Let's say this person had the bad dream Shabbos afternoon, and he had it so late on Shabbos that he already ate shalosh seudos. So why does that matter? I'll tell you why it matters. Why are you fasting the second fast on Sunday? You're fasting the second fast on Sunday in order to get kapara for the fact that you fasted on Shabbos. But if a person has a dream and he has a dream Shabbos afternoon, and he starts his Tainus Chaloim already after Suda Shlishis, the truth is, if he doesn't want to eat the rest of the day on Shabbos, he doesn't have to. He already had 3 Sudas. He had a Suda Friday night, he had his Shabbos day Suda Shabbos morning, and he already ate Suda Shlishis. So is he doing such a terrible thing that he's now refraining from eating for the rest of Shabbos? Now he still has to fast a second Tainus on Sunday to get kapara for that fast? Says the Mishnah Berurah, yes, he does have to. Now let's see it inside. Again, I cut you down. Even if he has the bad dream Shabbos afternoon, but not only does he have it Shabbos afternoon, he has it so late on Shabbos afternoon that it's already after he ate Suda Shlishis. And therefore, v'im kain, afilu b'lo yachaloim. Let's say he wouldn't have had a bad dream. He's allowed not to eat the rest of the day. You're not mechuyev to eat, once every half hour on Shabbos. You had your 3 sudas. If you don't want to eat anymore, you don't have to eat. So why does he have to fast another fast on Sunday to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos? Says the Mishnah Berurah, no, you still do. Mikam hakoim kevin shehisana l'shem tainis averi hi biyadai. Let's remember what we learned earlier. We learned earlier you're not allowed to fast past Chatzos on Shabbos morning. So you have to make sure to make Kiddush before Chatzos, Shabbos morning. Said the Mishnah Berurah told us, if you're fasting l'shem tainis, you're not allowed to fast even for an hour, even before Chatzos. So if at 10 o'clock in the morning, Shabbos morning, you say to yourself, I'm going to make a 1 hour tinus right now. I'm going to fast from 10 to 11. At 11 o'clock, I'm going to make Kiddush and I'm going to eat a good piece of babka. So I ate before Chatzos. What's the big deal? No, it is a big deal because you fasted for an hour, l'shem tinus, on Shabbos. You're not allowed to fast l'shem tinus on Shabbos. So too over here. Very nice. You ate your Suda Friday night, you ate your Suda Shabbos morning, you ate Suda Shlishis. So now you woke up from a nap, you had a bad dream, you say to yourself, okay, I won't eat the rest of the day, big deal. Though it is a big deal because you're fasting l'shem tinus. And therefore you need a kapara, you need to fast on Sunday, v'tzarech l'meisav tinus alzeh, you need to fast. Okay, now we go to Sif Hay. And we're going to talk a little bit nitty-gritty over here when we're speaking about the need to fast because you had a bad dream and you have to nullify Gzera Ra. Let's get a little bit more into the weeds of this. Says the Mechaber, Yesh Omer. There are those that say, and if you look at the Baragoyla, it brings this down from the Mordechai in the name of the Maram. Yesh Omer. There are those that say, She'ein lihisainus tainus chaloim b'Shabbos. You don't fast a tainus chaloim on Shabbos. Ela al chaloim shera'ohu tlos zimne. First of all, you're only going to fast the tainus chaloim on Shabbos if you had this bad dream 3 times. So if you had this dream Friday night for the 3rd time already, now it's like a chazaka. Now it really does raglayim l'davar. There's strong reason to say that Min HaShamayim, the Tak is sending you a message. So there are those that say, you want to fast the Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos? Not so fast. First of all, only if you have the dream 3 times. And there are those that say, that nowadays, you don't fast the Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos at all. She'ein anu b'kiyim b'pisrain chaloimos, because we don't have an understanding of how to interpret dreams. Leida eze toy ve'eze ra. We don't know what constitutes a bad dream and what doesn't constitute a bad dream. We don't know exactly what that means. Sounds very basic to you. What do you mean? So somebody had a dream that something terrible happened to him, so that sounds like a bad dream. No, not so simple. And we'll see as we go on over here. There are some dreams that look bad superficially, but they actually have a positive connotation. It actually could be a very positive message, Min HaShamayim. So since we don't know dream language, therefore it's totally inappropriate to fast a Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos. The Welt says the Shulchan Aruch, the world says, Shenimtza b'Sfarim kadmoinim, it's brought down in very, very early Sfarim, Sha'al shloisha chaloimos b'sanim b'Shabbos, that there are 3 dreams that you fast for, a Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos. Ve'eluhein, these are the 3 dreams. Haroya Sefer Torah shenisraf. If somebody sees Chas v'Chalil in a dream that a Sefer Torah was burnt, that could be a message Min HaShamayim that he went ahead and he violated the Torah. And because he violated the Torah, now they're sending him a message, Min HaShamayim, that he needs to do tshuva because there's Gzera Ra. He's seeing that a Sefer Torah was burnt up. That might be a message that he, so to speak, burnt Chas v'Chalil the Torah. He violated the Torah. So that's one dream. Yom HaKippurim b'Shas Ni'ila. Somebody has a dream that it's Yom Kippur during Nila. He has a dream that he's davening Yom Kippur Nila. That's a dream that gets a Tainus Chaloim. Why is that a dream that gets a Tainus Chaloim? Because it's a message min Hashamayim that you need a kapara. When do people daven very hard for a Slicha Mechila and kapara on Yom Kippur? They daven very hard by Nila. So you get a dream that you're davening Nila, that could be a potent message min Hashamayim that you really need kapara. What's the third one? Oy koirois beisoi, oy shinav shenoflu. Or somebody has a dream that the beams of his house collapsed or that his teeth fell out. Those also could be messages, bad omens, min hashamayim. Why? The beams of the house collapsed because you don't need a house anymore. Why don't you need a house anymore? Because there's Gzera Ra, chas v'chalil, against you in Shamayim, and you're not going to be needing a house anymore. Teeth falling out, why is that an ominous message? Because you're not going to need teeth anymore. Why do you need teeth to eat? Well, you're not going to have to eat anymore. So those could be terrible messages, ben hashamayim. So we have over here these 3 or 4 dreams that the Mechaber brings down. If you have these dreams, you fast a Tainus Chaloim. V'yeshomer, then there are those that say, Haroya Yom Kippurim afilu shaloi b'shas Nila. If you see that it's Yom Kippur, even if it's not during Nila, that's also a dream to fast for. V'yeshomer, there are those that say, Haroya shekoirei b'Torah. If somebody sees that he is reading from the Sefer Torah, that's also a reason to fast. Why? Because it sounds like he needs to be mechazik in Torah, because there's a weakness. He has a weakness in Torah, and they're telling him in a Shemayim, you better go read from the Torah. V'yeshomer, there are those that say, Haroya shenoisei isha. If somebody sees that he's getting married, he should fast the Tainus Chaloim. Now that doesn't sound like a bad dream. Somebody sees that he's getting married. No, when you get married, you get mechilas avonos. So a dream that you see that you get married might be a message that you require mechilas avonos. So here's right away where you start to see, you start learning this Siman, you start learning about a Tainus Chaloim. Oh, if you have a bad dream, you should fast. Would anybody guess that seeing that you got married constitutes a bad dream that you need to fast for? So you have to understand the pisrain chaloimos. You have to understand how to interpret a dream and to know, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Continues the Mechaber. V'hadar roya shino shenaflu. This that we said that a bad dream could be if somebody sees that his teeth fell out. Says the Mechaber, dafka shinov. It's only if his teeth fell out. Aval haroya l'choyav shenashru. If somebody sees that his entire jaw fell out. Now, I think most people would say that if somebody had a dream that his tooth fell out, that's not nearly as bad as somebody who had a dream that his jaw fell off. But it's actually not that way, says the Mechaber. If somebody sees that his jaw fell out, that's chalom toivu. That's actually a good dream. Why is that a good dream? Because it's actually a message min hashamayim that the people who have been speaking bad things about him using their jaws, right? They died. That's what it means that your jaw fell out. So that actually would not be a bad dream. That would be a good dream. Venerally, the Mechaber says, it seems to me, the dreams that are described in Masechtas Brachos in Perek HaRoya, Shehem Royim, the dreams that the Chazal over there in Masechtas Brachos say are bad, Gam Aleim Misanim B'Shabbos, you should fast a Tainus Chaloim for those dreams on Shabbos. Says the Mishnah Berurah here on Samach Vav Amud Aleph, Mishnah Berurah is cut in Tes Vav. Shal Shloisha Chaloimos Misanim, there are 3 dreams that you fast for. Va'af Be'elu HaShloisha, even when it comes to these 3 dreams, Ein lihisanois b'Shabbos, you do not fast a Tainus Chaloim on Shabbos, even by these 3 dreams. Elim keina Tainus oinigloi. Only if there's a silver lining to the fast. If the fast is going to be an oinig for you, if you're going to be happy that you're fasting, why are you happy that you're fasting? Explains the Mishnah Berurah, Kigoin shenafshay aguma olav, because you had this dream and now you're agitated. It's really bugging you. You had this bad dream, you're all agitated. Oivei, I had this bad dream, it might be a bad omen min hashamayim. So now you're going to fast the Tainus Chaloim. The Tainus Chaloim is going to be an oinig because you're going to feel, Baruch Hashem, I'm being mavatal the Gzera Ra. That's when you could fast the Tainus Chaloim at Shabbos. Because now by fasting, you're going to feel good. La fuke, this stands in contrast to imihu adam deloy kapit b'chaloim ra. Let's say you're a person who a bad dream rolls right off you. You're not nishtoimim. You had a bad dream. You wake up, what? That was a wild dream, and you move on. It doesn't bother you at all. Oisha tainis kasha alav u'mitztar yoiser b'tanisai mimasha mitztar b'pachad hachaloim. Or, yeah, the dream bugs you, but you're a terrible faster. So the fasting is going to be 10 times harder for you than the dream was. So in both of these cases, the tinus is not an oinik for you. In the first case, the tinus is not an oinik for you because you don't see any reason to fast anyway. The dream mamish doesn't bother you, so why are you fasting? So now I'm fasting is just suffering. In the second case, yeah, the dream bugs me, but the tinus is harder for me than the dream. So in both of those cases, all the tinus is suffering. Aser lehisanis b'Shabbos. Then the Rivash says it is totally aser to fast the tinus chaloim on Shabbos. Ub'shem shla, in the name of the shla, kasra achrayim, the achrayim write, sha'af be'elu ha'shloisha. Even by these 3 dreams that the Mechaber mentions at the beginning of the Sif, that he says we fast for, sha'af be'elu ha'shloisha ha'yarogel ala roiv lifsaik shaloi lehis anois b'Shabbos. They say in the name of the shla, that even by these 3 dreams, the shla would most often paskin not to fast a tinus chaloim on Shabbos, ela rather yis'anish shnei yomim b'choil, fast 2 days during the week, neged yom HaShabbos v'yom rishon she'acharav, corresponding to the tinus chaloim that you would have fasted on Shabbos, and the Sunday tinus that you would have fasted in order to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos had you fasted on Shabbos. Now this is very, very fascinating. Let's take a hard look at this. Excuse me. What we're saying is that somebody had a bad dream Friday night. Even if it's one of the first 3 bad dreams that the Mechaber discusses over here at the beginning of Sif Hey, which that's the first Yesh Omrim that you should fast for those 3 dreams. Somebody would come to the Shla, ask the Shla, Shaila, I had one of those 3 dreams, should I fast the tinus chaloim on Shabbos? So Al Pi Rov, the majority of the time, the Shla would say, no, don't fast on Shabbos. What should you do? You should fast Monday. Instead of fasting the tinus chaloim on Shabbos, fast during the week. But then you should also fast a second fast. Why? Because had you fasted on Shabbos, you would have to fast another tinus to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos. So now, even though you didn't fast on Shabbos, and instead you fasted on Monday, also fast on Tuesday in order to get kapara because you might have fasted on Shabbos. What does that mean? Why do I need a second tinus to get kapara for fasting on Shabbos if the shla just told me I shouldn't fast on Shabbos and instead I should fast on Monday? Apparently, and this is beyond our pay grade, what the shla is saying is, when you fast on Shabbos, remember, we said that the tinus chaloim, optimally, is supposed to take place the morning, the day after you had the bad dream the night before. Now, you had the dream Friday night, but you're not fasting until Monday. Apparently what the shla is saying is, you should fast on Monday, but your kavanah fasting on Monday should be that it's really a Shabbos fast. On Shabbos, you should have in mind, I can't fast today because it's Shabbos, but I'm gonna fast on Monday instead of fasting today. But that machshava, that kavanah, that you really want to be fasting on Shabbos, and that Monday's tinus should stand in the stead of the Shabbos fast, that's enough that it requires a second tinus for kapara. It's a very fascinating concept. Okay. Moving along to Sif Tezayin. One of the dreams that we said here is a bad dream. If somebody saw a Sefer Torah that Chas v'Chalila was burnt, says the Mishnah Berurah, it's not only a Sefer Torah. For who had in tefillin, this would also apply if somebody Chas v'Chalila saw in a dream that tefillin were burnt, sheyesh behen parshiyos shabatorah, because the tefillin contain in them parshiyos from the Torah. So you didn't see a Sefer Torah getting burnt, but you saw parshiyos of the Torah being burnt in the tefillin. Avol neviim iksuvim, but if you saw psukim or parshiyos from neviim or ksuvim being burnt, mashma deloi, the Pri Begadim says the implication is that for that you would not have to fast. Or masha kosav shenisraf, this that the Mechaber is saying that the dream is that you saw the Sefer Torah being burnt, la fuke im roya shenafal miyadoi, but not if you see a dream that you dropped a Sefer Torah. That does not call for a fast. If somebody saw that the beams of his house collapsed, that is also a bad dream. Says the Mishnah Berurah, however, in the Medrash Rabbah it's brought down, Shapastra Isha, a woman had a dream that the beams of her house collapsed, and they interpreted it to the woman, Sheteled Zachar, that it means that she's going to give birth to a boy. And then indeed she went ahead and gave birth to a boy. So what the Mishnah Berurah is bringing down from the Medrash over here is, with this that we say, that if somebody has a dream that the beams of his house collapse, that's a bad sign, and that's something that you should fast for. That's only if it happens to a man. If a woman has a dream that the beams of her house collapse, that could be a good omen. That could mean that she's going to, Mi'ez Hashem, have a boy. If somebody sees that his teeth fell out. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, but if somebody went to sleep Friday night and he had a terrible toothache, and then he dreamed in the middle of the night that his teeth fell out, lo yasana, he shouldn't fast for that dream. Because, you know why he had a dream that his teeth fell out? Because when he went to sleep, he was suffering from a toothache. Not because it's a message min hashamayim. It's the same way the Taz writes, any of these dreams, let's say somebody goes to sleep thinking in his mind, chas v'chalila, about a Sefer Torah burning. He read a news story that there was a fire in a shul and the Sefer Torah burnt. That's what he was thinking about when he went to sleep. If he sleeps about a Sefer Torah being burnt, that's not a message min hashamayim. He's dreaming it because he thought about it before he went to sleep. That does not call for a tainus chaloim. It is obvious, says the Mishnah Berurah, all of these dreams that we are describing over here, and the Mechaber said that you should fast for any of the bad dreams that are brought down by Chazal and Masechtas Brachas. That's only if it gives you aggravation. It's only if you wake up and you're all aggravated and you're all upset about it. Again, if it rolls right off you, that doesn't call for a tainus chaloim, especially not on Shabbos. The Chazal say that those dreams described in Parak HaRoya are bad dreams. If somebody has a dream, somebody took a position, a big position in a stock, and then he has a dream that the stock collapsed, that he lost $1 million, that's not a bad dream that you should fast the tainus chaloim on Shabbos for. It's only when somebody has a dream that's pekuach nefesh. Somebody has a dream that something really terrible happened to him, that it would be pekuach nefesh. That's when you would fast the tainus chaloim on Shabbos, not for financial loss. Also for those dreams in Masechtas Brachas you would fast. Says the Mishnah Berurah, when it comes to deciding whether or not you should fast a tainus chaloim, and especially on Shabbos, a person has to be very careful. Because the interpretation of dreams also goes by the words that you use to describe what you saw in the dream. And the Mishnah Berurah gives a very cute example. Kegoin shunra and shinra. You have a cat. A cat is called a shunra. Now, a cat could be a bad omen, or it could be not a bad omen. If you read it as shunra, shunra is actually a good siman. It's brought down. Because shunra somehow could be interpreted as they're making a shira noeh, a beautiful song. So shunra could be shira noeh. That would be a good siman. But in some locales, they didn't call a cat a shunra. They call it a shinra. Shinra is a bad message. Why? Because shinra could be a contraction of shinoi ra. A bad change is about to happen for him. So what the Mishnah Berurah is saying is, again, we have to know how to interpret these dreams, and you have to be a bucky in this science of interpreting dreams before you're going to go ahead and fast a tainus chaloim, especially on Shabbos. Okay, turning now to Sivav, says the Mechaber. Hamisana b'Shabbos. If somebody does fast a tainus chaloim on Shabbos, Oimer anenu achar siyum tfilasai, he should say the tefillah of Anenu after he finishes his Shemona Esrei. Beloi chasima, without a closing bracha to the paragraph of Anenu, v'koilaloi be'elokai nitzar. He should incorporate the tefillah of Anenu into the paragraph of Elokai nitzar that we say after the end of Shemona Esrei. So we know that on a fast day, we put in a paragraph into our Shemona Esrei. We insert it, when we daven mincha on the afternoon of a tainus, we insert the tefillah of Anenu into the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. That's what we do on a regular tainus. Says the Mechaber, if you're fasting on Shabbos, you should also say Anenu. But on Shabbos, you don't have a bracha of Shema Keleinu in Shemona Esrei that you could use to insert Anenu into. We don't say the bracha of Shemei Tefillah on Shabbos. So where are you going to put this Anenu? Says the Mechaber, put the Anenu after the end of Shemona Esrei in Elokai nitzar. That's where you should say Anenu. And it's not going to have a closing bracha. On a regular tainus, you close out Baruch Atah Hashem Shemei Tefillah. Again, it's incorporated into the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. On Shabbos, it's in Elokai nitzar. So the paragraph of Anenu will not have a closing bracha. Says the Mishnah Berurah, says the Mishnah Berurah, this means before you say Hashem Tzuri V'Gayali. So what you're going to do is Baruch Atah Hashem HaMavarech Esam Yisrael B'Shalom Elokai Nitzar L'Sheni Meira, and in there you'll put in the paragraph of Anenu. This is a tefillah, a paragraph that we say, a very moving paragraph that we say as part of the vidui on Yom Kippur. Before I was created, I wasn't worth anything. And now that I was created, it's as if I wasn't created. In other words, I'm not fulfilling my tafkid here in the world. I'm not doing the proper things. A very beautiful little tefillah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, the Achreidim write that you could say that on Shabbos. We know Shabbos Milizoik. We don't cry out. We're not mispal for our needs on Shabbos. But the Achreidim say that this paragraph of Elokai Shalom Sarti Eni Kedai we're being mispal to the Rebbeinu Shalom for tshuva, that he should accept our tshuva. What kind of crying out are you not allowed to do on Shabbos? Something that's going to give you aggravation. So you're crying to the Rebbeinu Shalom that somebody is sick. You're crying to the Rebbeinu Shalom that you don't have parnasa. That's going to give you aggravation. It's going to upset you. But tshuva, avacharatas avonos. But when you have regret over your averis, tov loymer b'chol yom, kevin she'ena b'loshen vidui. That you could do every day, even on Shabbos, so long as you don't do it using the specific language of vidui. You can't say Hashamnu bagadnu gazalnu on Shabbos. That's inappropriate because you're actually mentioning straight out chatam that you did and having charata on them. That's aggravation. But a tefillah like Elokai Shalom Tzarti, that you could do. Siv Zayin. 4 lines off the bottom in the Shulchan Aruch Samach Vav Amud Aleph. Says the Mechaber, Im hakdima lechal hu oinigloi. If it is pleasurable for you to advance your breakfast. Normally you eat breakfast at 10 o'clock, and it would be geschmack for you to have breakfast at 9 o'clock. You ate the Suda Friday night, but you already digested the whole thing, and now you're hungry Shabbos morning. So you want to make your breakfast, you want to make your first meal Shabbos morning earlier, yaktim. So then your taka should make it earlier, because that would be Einik Shabbos. But let's say you had a real humdinger of a Suda Friday night, and you wake up Shabbos morning, and you're still stuffed, so you want to push off your Shabbos morning Suda a little bit. You tell everybody, okay, Olam, we're going to eat the Suda at 12:30. We'll make Kiddush before, so we shouldn't fast, but we're not having the Suda until 12:30. I still got to get over last night's Suda. So then in the Chirami, you should delay the Suda. In other words, you should do whatever is a better Einik Shabbos. Haggah, says the Ramah, v'chein, similarly, mi sheyesh lo seudais kol yom k'may b'Shabbos. Somebody who he eats big Sudas all week long. So there isn't any great difference between his Shabbos Suda and his Monday Suda. Every day during the week, he sits down and he washes and he has farsh bais, he has an appetizer and then a main dish and 4 sides and a big dessert. So he always eats big, beautiful Gishmak Sudas. So there isn't much difference between his Shabbos Suda and his day Suda. Yeshana b'Shabbos lahakdam ela acher. So the Ramah says, we'll give you an eitzah for Oynik Shabbos. What you should do on Shabbos is, if it's an Oynik for you to eat earlier, so eat earlier. That'll be your Oynik. If it's an Oynik for you to delay your Suda and eat a little bit later, so delay your Suda and eat a little bit later. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Gimel Yeshana b'Shabbos Kadesh Minkar Shu L'chvay Shabbos. By doing so, you're doing something to show you're making a change. L'chvay Shabbos. Sivches, bottom line here, Samach Vav Amud Aleph, Ein Misanin al Shum Tzara Be'atzares Klal. We've spoken now about Tanis Chaloim, that there's a possibility of doing a Tanis Chaloim on Shabbos in order to be Mavatal Gzera Ra. But we don't fast because of a tzara. We don't fast on Shabbos because of a tragedy or because of a tzara that's going on. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Chafei Shum Tzara, Hainu Afilu Al Oisan Shebavur B'Samach Shezayik in Mischanin Alein. Even the types of tzaras that we're going to learn about, that it's mutter to cry out to Hashem for on Shabbos, that it's mutter to say Tehillim on Shabbos, that you could do, but you don't fast. When something happens, and a person needs to be mispal to the Rebbeinu Shalom, something happened on Shabbos, and you need to go be mispal to the Rebbeinu Shalom, you should have Rachmanis on you. Mutter levakish v'lipoel al panav biyochid. Something happens to somebody Nebuch on Shabbos. He needs Rachamim min hashamayim on Shabbos. We're not going to say that it's flat out usher to cry out to the Rebbeinu Shalom for Rachmanos on Shabbos. Go to a private room and you could be mavakish, you could be mispal, you could even do tachnun, lipal al panav. You could do all of that on Shabbos if you do it b'yichidus, if you do it b'tzina, if you do it one-on-one, not publicly. Okay? We're going to stop over here. Thank you so much for joining me for limud HaTorah. The schus of limud HaTorah should be begging against Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshua's, Refuah's, Parnassah, Shidduchim to all those in need. We should be zeichet to see the B'yeskel Tzedek. Memher of Yameinu. Amen. Be well.